Hello and welcome back. Last week we covered Edgar Wright, aka the visual comedy guru. It was a jam-packed episode and we were lucky enough to get an interview with the legend himself, but via Zoom of course, thanks to COVID. However, today we have another huge treat for you guys, a whole episode dedicated to the wonderfully quirky Mr. Wes Anderson. You probably know him from his truly unique style of cinematography, his warm colour palette and alumni of actors who tend to make cameos in all of his films. Directing Fantastic Mr. Fox, The Grand Budapest Hotel and Moonrise Kingdom, to name a few, Anderson has developed a truly unique style of film which we will explore within today's episode. He is known for the creation of flawed, comic and contradictory characters and successfully creates a unique production with designs and eccentric costumes and loads of sets. We managed to get our hands on a very special dress on behalf of the fantastic costume designers. To my right you can see this gorgeous piece fresh from the set of The French Dispatch. Thrifted, of course, the dress, and costumes in Anderson's films tend to be. They really say a lot about the character and the mood and their importance in the film. You'll also notice symmetrical framing, carefully considered mise-en-scene and the use of blocking and camera movement to really make each film Wes Anderson. And we, lucky enough, to send one of our own Abigail to the premiere of the newest upcoming film at the London BFI Festival, the well-awaited The French Dispatch. There's an incredible collection of actors as always, with my personal favourite having to be Timothée Chalamet. Are you surprised? Anyway, here's a trailer if you haven't seen it already.
Discover the world of Wes Anderson's The French Dispatch.
Bit of sports, bit of crime, bit of politics.
It's brilliant, a breakless freewheel through a teeming bazaar.
Physically or metaphorically?
Both. Anderson bombards us with delicious concoctions.
Write down the recipe.
It's a rocket ship ride to your cinematic soul.
I assure you it's erotic.
It's probably a turning point in the evolution of human pictography.
And it's positively exuberant with stars of the silver screen.
You're fired.
Really?
Don't cry in my office.
It's one of the best movies of the year.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
Well, that looks incredible, and I have to say I'm super jealous of anyone who was lucky enough to go at the premiere. Let's take a look at what went down there and see who Abigail managed to interview.
Well, it's inspired by Wes Anderson's love of The New Yorker and his love of short stories and his love of France, all mixed together into a beautiful melting pot that only Wes Anderson can do.
In this film, I'm only involved orally. As a song that I sing, it's called Aline. It was a French hit back in the 60s. And it's used, it's like a song on a jukebox in one of the kind of places where the film is set. So that's it. I'm the voice of a fictional pop star called Tip Top. Tip Top's and one.
Wes Anderson asked me to be in it, and it was like being anointed by the king or something. I mean, he's just, I just adore him. I adore his work, and I adore working with him. He's amazing, a filmmaker.
It's always the most interesting stories, and he has a style that I don't think anyone really has mastered as well as him. So it's always a pleasure, it's always fun, and you always see a bunch of friends, and it's like going back to summer camp.
Welcome back, Abigail. It's so great to finally see you again, fresh from the London Film Festival. I recognise that you've had quite a lot to discuss on today's show, so as usual we asked our lovely Twitter fans to send in some questions, so I've picked out a few of my favourites. Okay, so number one, at iHeartTimShal, who are your top 3 actors in The French Dispatch? Please say Timothy.
Oh, well, that's such a great question because obviously, as you know, Wes Anderson movies have a lot of great actors in, so my favourite would have to include Timothée Chalamet, Tilda Swinton, Jeffrey Wright, and of course, isn't a Wes Anderson film without Bill Murray.
Wow, that is quite a collection. At Ellen Oliver asks, tell me your favourite moment of the whole festival, please.
Well, the festival contained a lot of new great content from independent and mainstream movies, but we had no idea that Bill Murray was actually going to be there. He explained that his plane from Spain to London was delayed. However, he still insisted that he would attend, even if it meant missing like red carpet stuff beforehand. So it was very sparse in terms of cast members because of that too. Either way, it was a huge surprise for all of us. It was really great.
That sounds like a nice surprise, actually. And Liam Wooding, do you know anything about a new Wes Anderson film?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So, he revealed that the title of the next upcoming film, which is called Asteroid City, the cast have been described as being larger than most other Anderson films that are ensemble in nature, obviously. So, new actors joining the film include Margot Robbie,
I love Margot Robbie.
Rupert Friend and Tom Hanks.
Wow,
which I think is a great ensemble. Even if it's just them three for the whole entire film, I think that would be fab.
A classic Wes Anderson film.
Exactly. Before we continue, I'd like to introduce our sponsor for this video, which is the BFI. And in this short ad, you will be in for the chance to subscribe for a whole year, which will give you the opportunity to secure early bird tickets for red carpet events.
Well, thanks for that, Abigail. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've all enjoyed this short episode.
Tune in next week for an exclusive look at Spencer, featuring Kristen Stewart.
I have to say she isn't my favourite, and I'm not a huge fan of the Twilight series, but luckily for me, we're not going to talk about Twilight. We're going to compare The Crown and Spencer, and we're going to compare the actors in it, especially like the Diana portrayal. I'm interested to see who comes on top.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow us all on the latest social media platforms.
Bye-bye.
Bye.